Hello everyone, we are going to solve GATE 2017 questions of extractive metallurgy. We will start with 1 marks question, then we will move to 2 marks question. So let us see 1 mark question. The first question is the sieve analysis of ground quartz particles is given in the table below. So this is a problem of sieve analysis. The sieve size it is given 4.76, 3.36, 2.38, 1.68, 1.19 and less than 1.19. The mass fraction of ground product retained on each sieve is. Okay, so there are different sizes of sieve, one by one. If you see, first one is the 4.76, right? 3.36, then 2.38, then 1.68, 1.19, okay, then less than 1.19. okay, so these are the sieve and the mass fraction of ground product retained on each sieve. So what is the amount of mass which is retained on this sieve? Like first, we suppose we had 100% material, okay, so mass fraction will be what? 1. So what is the amount which is retained on sieve number 1? That is 0, right? All the material passes through this sieve, and at this position 0.2, right? And this position it is 0.4, at this position it is 0.3, then 0.08, then 0.02, right? So this is the mass. So if you add this complete, then it will come 1, right? So it is asking about the sieve analysis of ground product is given in the table below. Okay, I think I have not taken the complete question. Wait, let me see the complete question. What is there? is. So the cumulative mass fraction of particles of size less than 1.68 mm is. Right, guys? So we need to find cumulative mass fraction of particle less than 1.68 mm. Right? So if you see the sieve size 1.68 mm, that means the particle of size will be just above 1.68, right? So whatever the quantity of material which is flowing through 1.68, that will be counted to be of lesser size than 1.68. So the next sieve where it will go is the 1.19 and less than 1.19. So if you add this one, so cumulative mass equal to 0.08 plus 0.02, right? This implies 0.1, right? And this is your answer. So now let us move to next question. Next is the 2 marks question. See the first question. During the end blow period in LD steel making, the decarburization rate is expressed by the equation dC by dt is equal to C minus C star. Here C and C star are the instantaneous and equilibrium concentration of carbon in steel respectively in units of weight percent. Okay, given that C star is equal to 0.04 weight percent and C, that is concentration, at time t is equal to 0 minute is 0.4 weight percent. The concentration of carbon in steel in weight percent at time t equal to 1 minute is. So after 1 minute we need to find what is the composition. Okay, what is the composition of carbon in the steel. So this follows the reaction. So see here the reaction is Tc upon Tc equal to minus C star, right? So this implies we can rearrange this equation. Okay, So to find the concentration at time equal to 0 minute to time equal to 1 minute, we need to integrate this one, right? So initial concentration is how much? 0.4 at time equal to 0, and this C we need to find, right? So this implies this is nothing but we integrate 1 by C minus C star, that is C minus log, right? So 0.4 to C equal to minus T 0 to 1. So this implies C minus C star log minus log 0.4 minus C star equal to minus how much? 1, right? For 1 minute we will take minus 1. Okay, so this implies log C minus C star is 0.04 minus 0.04 equal to minus 1. So if you rearrange this one, that is C minus 0.04 by 0.36 equal to 8 power minus 1. So if you solve this one, then you will get it as calculated. C is equal to 0.172, right? C is equal to 0.172. Okay, so you can solve using this method. Now next question. In primary steel making, dissolved oxygen, that is O, reacts with carbon to produce CO gas at 1 atm pressure. According to the reaction, C plus O is equal to CO. The equilibrium constant for this reaction is log K is equal to 1160 by T plus 2.003, where T is in Kelvin, right? So remember T is in Kelvin. Assuming Henrian activity coefficient of both oxygen and C to be unity, the dissolved oxygen content in weight percent of a plain carbon steel melt with 0.7 weight percent C at 1600 degrees centigrade E. Okay, so we need to find the oxygen content when the carbon content is 0.7 weight percent. Okay, so the reaction here is C plus O is equal to CO. So if you find the equilibrium constant, this implies partial pressure of CO divided by activity of carbon and activity of oxygen, right? And here it is given that partial pressure of to produce it is produced at 1 atm, so it will be 1 simply. Activity to carbon is nothing but, since here the activity is nothing but Henrian activity, so Henrian coefficient into the weight fraction, right? The weight percent basically. And since Henrian activity it is given as unity, so this will be ultimately equal to what? Weight percent. So carbon, for carbon it is 0.7, for oxygen we need to find, right guys? See, Henrian activity, basically Henrian activity is equal to Henrian coefficient into weight percent, right? And this Henrian coefficient it is given as 1. It is given as 1. Okay, so this will be ultimately equal to what? Weight percent. Now here one more equation is there which is given in the question itself, 1160 by T plus 2.003, right? So from above we will put this K value, right? This implies log 1 by 0.7 into oxygen to 1160. T is how much? 1600. So 1600 plus 273, because T is in Kelvin, right? Plus 2.003. So this is the equation, and if you solve this equation, then your direct oxygen will be, you do it by yourself, and the oxygen content will be, let me see. Okay, so oxygen content will be 0.0034, 0.0034 weight percent, right? So this is your answer. The oxygen content will be this much. Now let us move to next question. A stoichiometric mixture of CO and pure oxygen at 1 atm and 25 degrees centigrade flows into a combustion reactor. The molar flow rate of CO entering the reactor is 1 kg mole per hour. Okay. The adiabatic flame temperature in Kelvin for the combustion of CO with stoichiometric oxygen is. So here the combustion of CO is taking place. So let us write the equation. So CO plus O2 will give CO2. Okay. Now we need to balance the equation. So this is CO plus half O2 is equal to CO2. Okay. Now the delta H 298, it is given minus 282 000 kilojoule per kg mole, okay, of CO. So delta H naught 298 is given. Okay, so this is the energy which will be liberated, and this will increase the temperature, right? This will increase the temperature, and this will increase temperature by how much? So we will balance this equation with this heat will be in the basically product side, like this heat will go in the product, and this will increase the overall. So this will be how much, and this will be equal to the Cp value of the product, that is CO2 CpdT, and temperature T is equal to 298 to T is equal to T adiabatic, right? So if we equate this one, then 282,000, this is in kilojoule, right? So Cp of CO2, it is also given in kilojoule. So 44 kilojoule into temperature T adiabatic minus 298, right? Now if you do the calculation, so minus 6409 is equal to TA minus 298, right? Okay, so guys, remember here this is the release energy, right? This is the release energy. So when we'll try to equate these two, so delta H naught will take here in positive, because the same energy which is used here is going to be supplied to the product side. So this is the energy supplied, so here we'll take it in the plus sign. Okay, so this implies TA is equal to 6409 plus 298, 6707 Kelvin. Okay, so this is your answer. Why we will take here positive? So you remember here, suppose now at 298 Kelvin, this is the reaction A to B, right? And from B to C at temperature TA, the reaction goes, right? So delta H AB plus delta H B to C, let it be, the complete energy will be how much? This will be 0, right? For A to C, the reaction to move A to C, delta H AB plus delta H So that's why, you know, so delta H, wait guys, AB is equal to delta minus delta H BC. Okay, so we can put this minus sign over here also, and that's why it will be positive basically. Or we simply understand the what is the amount, whatever the amount of energy released, that is getting consumed to increase the temperature in the product side. So whatever the energy is there, so we are directly trying to compare the energy, so that's why we will take in positive. Okay, now let us move to next question. Assuming the solid phases to be pure, the slope of line BC in the predominance area diagram schematically shown below is. Okay, this is a very interesting question. This is the problem of predominance area diagram. Predominance area diagram. So what is the meaning of predominance area? Because whenever we do some kind of roasting, then what are the stable phases at particular temperature, as well as, and this temperature defines the partial pressure of SO2 and the partial pressure of O2. So what are the different stable phases, the dominating phases? That's why the term from here it has come. What are the different stable phases which are present during roasting? So if you see the area under ABC, the NiO is the most stable phase at this partial pressure of SO2 and O2. Okay, so similarly at this point, at this O2 pressure, right, and SO2 pressure, NiSO4 is the most stable, and here also NiS is the most stable. Okay, so this dictates, basically this tells about the stability of the phases, right? So we need to find the slope of BC, right? The slope of BC. So the line BC shows the equilibrium between the NiO, okay, and NiSO4, right? This shows the equilibrium. So what will the reaction between the NiO, so that it will be converted to NiSO4? So we will have to write the equation. Okay, since NiO and sulfur will be there, so from where the sulfur will come? From SO2, and from where the excess amount of oxygen will come? From O2, is equal to NiSO4, right guys? So now we will try to balance this one. Now if you balance this one, then oxygen in the left side, it is 4 and 5, right? It is 4. So let us balance here. Suppose we multiply with 2, then 2s, 2 here, then 2, then sulfur will be 2, then 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, now here multiply with 2. So 2 nickel, 2 sulfur. So 2 nickel, then 2 sulfur, then oxygen you count, it is 8. So in the left hand side also it is 8, right? Now take K value. K value will be your activity of NiSO4 square divided by activity of NiO square, partial pressure of SO2 square, partial pressure of O2, right? And since NiSO4 and NiO, these are the stable phases, these are in solid phase, so activity can be taken as 1, right? So this implies PSO2 square is equal to 1 by K PO2, right? This is fine. So this implies if you take the log value, then 2 log PSO2 is equal to minus log some suppose 1 by K, then will 1 by PSO2 minus log K, right? This will be the term, right guys? Okay, fine. So this implies log PSO2 is equal to minus 0.5 log PO2 minus 0.5 log K. So this is a constant value, and this is the graph between log PSO2 to log PO2. So if you see, if you compare with y is equal to mx plus c, then this is nothing but the slope, right? And that's why here it is asking about the slope of line BC. So what will be the slope here? It is 0.5 in negative. This is a negative slope, right? So answer will be how much? Minus 0.5. So in this type of problem, you will have to first remember the equation, the balance equation between the two stable phases. Okay guys, so next question. So I think all questions are completed here. So thank you all.